www.offthecorner.net. You are watching the F.A.C.T Project here on Full Blast Radio. F.A.C.T is an acronym that stands for Fundamental African-Centered Thought. The goal here on the F.A.C.T Project is to convey some facts and some information to members of our community. We have a guest joining us again today for the third time. We appreciate his presence. But before we introduce our guest, I do want to make a few announcements. Brother Taimbo of Harlem Liberation School has started a GoFundMe campaign for Brother Dhoruba bin Wahad, who was a New York Panther, a political prisoner, and a long-distance revolutionary. Brother Dhoruba is facing some major health challenges, so Brother Aj decided to start a GoFundMe for Brother Dhoruba to raise money for his medical expenses. The GoFundMe is in the link. I just posted that in the chat. The link, rather, is in the chat. So you can go there and definitely donate to some of our freedom fighters. As they get older, they're going to need some of that help. We got also Sister Marilyn Mosby, who was a state's attorney in Maryland, who was basically found guilty of using her own retirement money to feed her children. Her GoFundMe also has been posted in the chat. That sister needs some support. We had a former president who was convicted of 34 counts of 34 felonies, and his followers managed to raise $50 million for him. So let's see if we can go ahead and raise some money for Sister Marilyn Mosby. The link for that is in the GoFundMe link, rather, is in the chat. And also, if you've been watching the show for any number of weeks, you understand that we're on a campaign against Netflix, who has released the animated reboot of Good Times, which we find to be very disrespectful and very reprehensible. It's very stereotypical portrayal of Black people. And so CMOTAP, which is the Committee to Eliminate Media Offensive to African People, has written an open letter to Netflix. And Brother Dr. James McIntosh, who is the writer of that open letter, was on last week. If anyone wants to send a copy of that open letter to Netflix, you can do so by visiting offthecorner.net. That website, again, is offthecorner.net. You can copy paste that in the email, or you could put that or print it out and put it in the snail mail. But either way, definitely try to get that letter over to Netflix. And you can do so, again, by visiting offthecorner.net. Like I said, we have a special guest joining us again today in our ongoing discussion about the nation of gods and earths. We got Brother Cee Allah. Peace and Black Power, Brother C.
Peace, my brother. How are you today?
I'm doing well, brother. We thank you for joining us again to share all your knowledge and wisdom. We have some people in the chat that were actually chiming in on the chat maybe 30 minutes ago before the program even started. So a lot of people are hyped to hear this conversation.
Yeah. And if they have any questions that they need to ask or want to ask me, yeah, they can definitely do that.
Yeah, I would recommend that for sure. If you're in the chat, if you have any questions for Brother C, definitely please put them in the chat and I will get those over to him. Now, Brother C, last time we were on, we had some technical issues. So, and for the people that weren't here last time and didn't see you on the last time, what is the history on the origin of the nation of gods and earths?
Okay, the history is like this. The founder, who we call Allah, and also the father, because he's the father, he's the one who gave birth to this culture, which is called the F.A.C.T Nation, was in 1964. He himself was a member of the Nation of Islam when he came from the war. And I believe his wife was in the Nation of Islam first, and then he joined. And he stayed for, I believe, approximately 3 years. And after leaving the Nation of Islam, he created his own social construct, which we call the F.A.C.T Nation. And I believe the birth was around in October of 1964. I don't know the exact date because we get different dates. Some brothers say the 7th, some say the 10th, you know. But that's why I say it's around October of 1964.
Okay, now you said social movement, like as it relates to Black nationalism. You can define it by saying that Black nationalism is a social, political, and economic cooperation of Black people nationwide. And Pan-Africanism is a social and political economic cooperation of Black people worldwide. What is the ultimate message of the nation of gods and earth? Like, if you can put that in, encapsulate it, how would you describe it?
Well, That's a good question. Okay, what I take from it, and what when I came into the culture, it was about empowerment, you know. And one of the things was taught that education should be fashioned so to make individuals be self-sufficient as a people, you know. So that's definitely one of the things that was pushed, because the law was definitely about education. And so when he started working with the city in terms of the mayor and the mayor's aide, one of the things that he wanted for his young 5%ers, he wanted a place where they can be taught, they can be educated, where they can go back to school, where they can go to college and be successful in their life. So education has always been the focal point and the key point of our teachings. Then this information he felt was for everybody, because the truth is universal. No, there's no one individual who is the owner of the truth. It's for everybody, you know. To, you know, whoever wanted to learn or be taught, he would teach them. Whoever.
Okay, you said that education was for the purpose of being self-sufficient. So this was not, I mean, this is coming about in the early 1960s. This has nothing to do with the civil rights movement, where they thought that freedom meant integrating with our oppressor. This is not that kind of movement, right? Right.
No. It was more about awareness, you know, and he focused his teachings on the young, on the youth. You know what I'm saying? So his primary focus was on the young, because a lot of the young were just wayward. They was just out there not doing too much in society, causing, you know, havoc and things. So he aligned himself with the mayor at that time, who was Mayor Lindsay, and they began to set up programs for the young. They would take them on helicopter ride. They would take them to Bear Mountain Park. They would, give them tickets to go to the Apollo. It was about the youth and promoting the youth, you know.
Yeah. You said now he was in Korea in the 1950s, and what he was teaching was drastically different from anything that Black people were dealing with in America at that time. And so my question says, do you know if he got some of his information that he ended up conveying when he started to teach his own personal philosophy? Did he learn any of that in Korea by chance? Do you know?
Well, yeah, I would say he did, because he mentioned that he did an interview. It was an Otisville interview where he went up to see some of his young 5%ers that was up there, I guess, having problems. And I guess it was like a reformatory school. And he did an interview. And he said being in the war taught him how to build himself an army or a nation. So yeah, you know, he did take from that, as well as the Nation of Islam, because that's where that's where the lesson that we deal with comes from, the Nation of Islam. You know, and by him being the Nation of Islam, it was a realization for him. It woke him up to the realization of who he was being in there.
Now we got a question. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
We got a question from MF Dredson in the chat. He wants to know, why did the father leave the Nation of Islam?
See, I can't say for certain. You know, I wasn't there. You know, I can only speculate. For one, I do know this in terms of Nation of Islam is like a religious movement, right? He himself, he didn't subscribe to religion. Actually, he said he kind of hated religion. You know, even though we use terms like God and devil and things like that, which has religious connotations, however, he himself didn't like, you know, how you know, religion, it you know, taught about a higher power somewhere in space. So he didn't subscribe to that, those type of teachings, you know. So
yeah, that was drastically different from anything that anyone was saying at the time. And he went to the youth, and it seems he went to the youth that were most influential. Like, he went to the cool kids. Is that safe to say that?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. The cool kid, you know, the kid that were getting in trouble a lot. You know, so focus at that time. Those.
These were the popular children in the neighborhood, right?
Right. Yes, like the Law B's and them, because from the story I hear about Law B, he was a terror, in the community.
Okay.
He'd tell you that story himself when he was alive. So with the teachings that changed the way he did things.
Now, his break with the Nation of Islam. Some people say he got kicked out. Some people say he left on his own accord. What do you know about that?
Well, I heard he left on his own. Today, see, we always used to thought he was kicked out at one time, but we found out later on he left on his own. He was never put.
Okay, so it wasn't. Now this was the mosque was under Malcolm X at the time. Did Malcolm X personally put him out, or did somebody under Malcolm X put him out?
Malcolm X, no, he left. He wasn't put out. No, he left on his own.
Okay, understood. And now he left a year before Malcolm X did. And him and Malcolm X kind of, remained in Harlem. Did the two cross paths with each other after they both left the Nation of Islam? Do you know?
No, I couldn't even be able to answer that question.
All right, so you don't know of any meeting that took place between them after they left?
No.
Mm-mm. I think that would have been interesting if those two could have come together after the fact.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it definitely would have been.
Yeah, that could have been a powerful movement right there. Now, the Nation of Gods and Earths do well. First of all, before I even get to the Show and Prove, which is the annual event, which is coming up, is that correct?
Well, no. It was on what day was it on? I believe it was the same day as the Puerto Rican Day Parade. No, it passed already.
Okay, and how did that go? Can you tell us about that?
I wasn't able to attend this year.
Okay, understood. You can't go every year, but I went once, and there are a lot of luminaries that go through there. Like Lakim Shabazz just walked past me. I met and spoke to, and even was able to take a picture with Brother AZ. I've heard in previous years, Grand Poobah and a lot of people have been there. Who are some of the other names that you can mention that have come through the Show and Prove?
Wow. Well, just coming through there, like I seen Erykah Badu there one year. I seen Common there one year. Like performers, we've had like Biz Markie. I remember back in '87 when he performed. Who else? So many. Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Wu-Tang Clan. The New Generation, the New Generation, right? You heard of them, right?
Classical too, sure.
Yeah, they perform. Over the years, so many different performers came through.
And what is the history of the Show and Prove?
Well, the Show and Prove started in 1971. And the brothers, after Allah had, after he was assassinated in 1969. The story of Law B tell is that the nation there was no real activity going on besides their annually their monthly parliaments. So the nation wasn't really doing anything, besides that. So it was a couple of brothers from Queens, which we call the Desert. I think his name was Prince Allah and his brother, and maybe Allah B could have been down with that. I'm not sure. They held the dance in 1970. And when they held the dance, that brought a lot of the 5%ers from all over the 5 boroughs came together. And they had a great time. And this is something that they wanted to do every year now. So in 1971, they held the first annual Show and Prove at Harlem Prep. Because a lot of them was going to Harlem Prep at that time. And the director of Harlem Prep was Ed Carpenter. He allowed them to hold their Show and Prove there. So it's been going on ever since 1971. And that was commemorate a law to show and prove that his teachings can't die. And we're still here, and we're his living monument, still representing these teachings today.
Now, can you say that the Show and Prove was put together to exemplify unity among members of the Nation of Gods and Earth?
Yeah, definitely. And to show and prove that these teachings are still standing, because in a lot of organizations, even take the Nation of Islam for instance, when Elijah Muhammad died, the nation fell. Especially because they put it in the hands of the wrong individual, so it went down. So they thought by whoever assassinated Allah in 1969, that would stop the growth of the 5%. Actually, we became stronger.
And now, what about the history of the assassination of the father? Because that's a crime that has yet to be solved. So, can you talk to us about that?
Well, as far as I know, no one was caught. Like, that case it should still be open. From what I know, no one was brought to justice. I seen an old article that someone was arrested, but I don't think he was convicted of the crime or anything like that. So basically, I would say that case would still be open today.
Did the father have any known enemies in the street? I mean, I know there was a schism between the 5% Nation of Gods and Earths and the Nation of Islam, but was there any other issues that he might have had with people in the street?
Nah, not that I know of. No,
Okay.
With some of the members of the Nation of Islam, because some of them he still got along with.
Okay. Yeah. So, I think that's interesting that all of these years, no one's ever been arrested or convicted or anything. And I don't even know that there's been a real investigation. Do you know anything about an investigation into that?
No, I don't know anything about that. They probably stopped looking a couple of months after.
Yeah, I think that should be a documentary of some sort. We saw a documentary not too long ago in recent memory called "Who Killed Malcolm X." I think there should be one called "Who Killed the Father," because that's the story that that has yet to be told. From what I'm seeing, the story has yet to really be told.
Yeah, can you hold on 1 second?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. We're talking to Brother Cee Allah, who is here representing the Nation of Gods and Earths in our ongoing conversation about the Nation of Gods and Earths. And we're basically just going through some of the history and some of the things about the Nation of Gods and Earths that people may or may not know. We got a question, Brother C, in the chat. He said, "Where's Justice?"
Oh, Justice died right before I became a part of the 5% Nation. I became a part of the 5% Nation in 1979. He died in 78.
Okay, and was he in New York at that time?
Yeah. He was in New York, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And now the Justice and Allah, do they have children that are also involved with the Nation of Gods and Earths?
Justice, he has a son, but no, his son came to the street naming, but he's not a part of the 5% Nation. And most of Allah's children, they're not here. He do have a son that I met before named PLR. And that was over 10 years ago I seen him. And I haven't seen him since. But I think he had his sons died, ALR and BLR. I know they both died. And I believe his 2 daughters died as well.
Wow. Yeah, you got Brother Hassan Burton in the chat said, "Wow, thank you, Cee Allah." So you just told him something he didn't know.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry.
No, I just said, not a problem. I'm here. You can ask me anything.
Got it. Now, I'm circling back to the Show and Prove. Are there any stories that you could share with us about some things that happened at the Show and Prove? Because I remember talking to Brother Cee Allah years ago, and he said Wu-Tang Clan had performed, and Old Dirty was on the stage using language that was inappropriate for the children. Do you have any stories like that around the Show and Prove?
I didn't, not too much of that. One time when RZA was performing, he was using language that was inappropriate as well, I don't know, I guess, and they didn't stop him at the time, but maybe someone spoke to him after the fact. But, sometimes these brothers, they get in the zone and they not paying attention to their audience, because you got children out there as well, But other than that, since I've been going over the years, since the 80s, it's been beautiful. We had a show. I know it used to be a brother, he died. Every year he would perform. He would do an act where he would tie himself up in a straitjacket and he would bust out the straight jacket, and then he would start rhyming. I have video of a lot of that stuff from the 80s.
Yeah, brother. Well, we got MF Dredson in the chat. He said that brother Clarence was not mentioned in Malcolm X's biography at all. You know anything about that?
Oh no, nah, I really don't know about that.
Yeah, because he was not mentioned. Because
I didn't see him mention him as well either.
yeah, because he was not mentioned, and I don't know if that is a major thing that was impactful. I guess it was. I think it's worth mentioning, but in Malcolm X's own personal story, I think perhaps maybe that should have been in there.
Yeah, well, let me see. But maybe not, because don't forget the 5% nation, started in '64. So we didn't get. Right now, we're like a bud. We're still budding at that time. So the effect wasn't as great at that time yet. Because we're just budding. We're just coming into our own. So don't forget, Malcolm died right after that. So yeah, so I can understand him really not writing about us, because the as big of an impact yet at that time.
Okay.
Because it was the city that came to see him. The mayor at that time, Mayor Lindsay, he sent his aide to go uptown because he heard the talk about who are these 5%ers? Who is this man named Allah? So he sent his aide up there to meet with him and find out about, this group that call themselves the 5% Nation.
And who did he talk to when he sent his representative? Who did they speak to?
They spoke to Allah and justice.
And what was that conversation like?
Well, okay, according to the book, because he had the book out, the guy name was Barry Garfner, right? So he wrote a book called The Mayor's Man, and he told the story about when he went uptown looking for who Allah, because he didn't know who he was. He just heard about him, and they met at a bar. So he heard a lot of stories, and when he met Allah, he said, wow, this can't be the same person that, all these things I heard about. Because, he appeared so different. He was a humble man, and he was thinking he was a radical, and he was going to be a certain way. So they formed a relationship like that. So then he would go up there on a regular, and he would meet with Allah, and then Allah told him what he wanted for his young, like our pens that we wear, like these pens. Well, this ain't the original one, but the mayor, he paid for those through the taxpayer dollars. He started getting our pens. That school that we have right there on 126th Street, that came from the city. Like I said, the plane ride. So he started assisting Allah with what he wanted to do. And he had the Urban League come in, and he would teach the young. They had classes, and they even had Dr. Ben working with them. Dr. Ben was teaching a lot of them as well at that time.
The mayor did this to what end? Like it was his initiative to try to help to keep the children off the street. Why did he do that?
Yeah, no, he was trying to help. He was definitely trying to help.
Okay, we got Go ahead.
No, I said he himself formed a relationship with Allah. He would come uptown. This other guy, he was telling the story. It's on YouTube as well. His name is Sid something. He worked in the mayor's office at that time. He said where Mayor Lindsay would come uptown to Harlem on the train to go meet with Allah, because when Martin Luther King was killed in 1968, it was the 5%ers that helped stop the riot in Harlem. The Mayor Lindsay went to a law school. He went to the academy, and he got a law, and the law got other young 5% at the time, and they stopped the people from rioting and burning down the property in Harlem. See,
so
here.
That's the stuff you don't hear, yes.
Hey, you don't hear these things.
Now, the mayor of the city was coming to see him. He had to be like a celebrity in the streets at that point.
Well, yeah, because of what he was doing, you know.
Interesting. Yeah, that's
That's it.
and so now the school is still there. What can you tell us about the origin of the school?
Cool.
Well, like I said, when he told Barry Goffner that he wanted a place where he can teach his young, you know, to take them off the street where they can go back to school and they can learn. So Barry Goffner, in his book, he wrote that. So he was looking around and he saw that there was a storefront that I believe was abandoned at the time, right there on the corner of 126th Street and 7th Avenue. So he found it, and so he made a deal with the Urban League that if they can supply 2 teachers, right, they would charge them. I think it would be free, but they had to pay. I think it was $1 a year rent. You know, and that's been going on since I believe '67.
So that still stands. $1 a month. It still stands.
Right. It was. I think it was $1 a month or $1 a year, and it still stands today because the school is still there.
Now let me ask you this: not to get into organizational business, but how do they, pay for maintenance and to keep the lights on and so forth?
Oh well, they have through donations. They have the vendors, right? Who vend on 125th Street, right? They at the school, and they have a part of the school. They have a big yard where they store their carts at the end of the day, so they have to pay for storage. You know, another part where people put their trucks there. I guess truckers or whatever, so they have to pay for that spot. So this is how the school also generate money besides, donations and things of that nature.
Now, getting back to the riots, you said the mayor really sat up and took notice. This was after the riots when he came to start seeing the father up in Harlem?
Well, this was right. No, you said this was right. So they was about to riot up in Harlem, and I guess they were rioting. And then when Mayor Lindsay came uptown, and he went to law school, and the law went out there with his 5%ers, and they were stopping people from rioting, starting fires, looting, and all that.
Okay, brother Hassan Burton in the chat said that Elijah Muhammad said the father was spreading his teachings to the youth in Harlem. He, the messenger, acknowledged the father's works. Now, did Elijah Muhammad look upon the father favorably at that time? Do you know?
See, I'm not really qualified to answer that because I wouldn't know, because I never heard of Elijah speak on the father, speak on the law like that, But I know a lot of the individuals, even some to this day, they were mad, and some still are because of their teaching. Because the teaching was something which are the lessons, which they call supreme wisdom. We call 120 lessons, So he was giving them out to the youth. It was something that was sacred to them, and you had to be registered. You had to be a registered Muslim to deal with this, So, yeah, and I can understand them being mad at that, But like I said earlier, truth is the truth, So he was assimilating it to the youth, and he took that knowledge to help build him a nation.
Okay, you mentioned 120 lessons. Why are the lessons called 120 lessons?
Well, we call it 120 because it's like 120 questions, 120 answers, like that. So that's why we just call it 120.
Okay, and there are also there's supreme wisdom. No, I'm sorry, supreme alphabet, right? Supreme mathematics. And then there are the lessons, some of which the Nation of Islam taught. And then there are plus degrees. Where do the plus degrees come from?
Oh, that comes from individuals writing about their experiences or things that they take under the study. It's like someone writing a book. Back at that time, we call it plus letters because it's a plus because it's an add-on to what we're dealing with. anyway. It's not mandatory that you deal with that, you know. But the mathematics, the alphabet, and the lessons that's mandatory.
I've heard over the years about anonymous plus degrees. Is that part of 120 lessons also?
Anonymous?
Anonymous plus degrees.
I never heard of that.
Never heard that expression. Okay, so Brother Hassan Burton in the chat is asking a question. He said, "Did Cee Allah ever read The Bomb, the greatest story never told, the life of the father Clarence 13X? The publication came out in 1987."
Yeah, I read it. I have it. Yes, written by Beloved. Yes.
Okay, now is that recommended reading? What's your opinion on that?
I mean, it's good to me. I don't know if it's 100% accurate because he was doing research on the father, giving Allah, and giving his history, about where he came from, Danville, Virginia, how he was in the war and when he became a part of the Nation of Islam. So it goes into his history. That's what the bomb is about. So it's telling you more about the founder of this.
Now, Lord Jamar did a song called "Greatest Story Never Told." Was it based on that book?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you never heard of anonymous plus degrees, because that's something I heard of over the years. I don't know if that's really a thing or if that's something people made up.
No, I never heard of that.
All right. So anyway, we got I'm trying to read the chat here. It says, "Peace to the gods. Is there any chance we can get a 5% knowledge-based mix?" I guess that person's looking for music. We have to call on DJ Tiger for that. Now, 120 lessons and Nation of Gods and Earths was big in the high schools years ago. It's not quite as big. I mean, it's still there, it's still strong, but it's not quite as big as it was. Why do you think that is?
Wow, that's deep. I guess it might be the method on how we were teaching back then to now. I know. I can speak from my experience. I was in high school when I received, the knowledge of self, and we were young and we were spreading the teachings. You going up to other high schools, and it was I would say overwhelming force in the urban communities back then. Because it was kind of new, so everybody was jumping on board. To many, it was a fad. That's why many came, and over the years, many left. Because it was a fad. Growing up, it was very popular back then. Very popular.
Yeah, do you think rap music helped to popularize the culture?
Definitely. Especially, I gotta give them credit. Wu-Tang Clan. So many people that's younger than me, that got it in the 90s. It was through the music. That venue, a lot of them came, and most of them said through Wu-Tang Clan. More so than Rakim and Brand Nubian. It was Clan helped push this a lot.
I'm surprised because I would think Rakim would be that number one person that really helped to put it on the map early on, because Wu-Tang came after Brand Nubian and Rakim, so I'm surprised they're getting that credit.
No, they get a lot of credit. See, Rakim came in the 80s. We were still strong in the 80s. It was out there in the 80s. He came, I think, in 86. But that's why I said, don't forget, we got hit with the crack era in 84. So a lot of people got caught up in that, and also a lot of 5%ers got caught up in that, from selling to using. So even the attendance in the parliaments at that time, it went down. So not to say a rebirth, but a lot of brothers fell off. A lot of brothers did fall off at that time because what was happening in New York City with that distraction, which was called crack, and that really hurt us. big time.
I think yeah, yeah, crack was definitely a distraction, and that was a problem. That was deliberately put into our neighborhoods. Dark Alliance was a documentary done by Gary Webb out in the state of California, and he was talking about how the cocaine was getting into the country, which ended up being crack in the black neighborhoods. There is also the advent now of the gun. They dropping the guns off. I think the gun now is the new crack. Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Sometimes we gotta be careful what we ask for, right? Now I'm speaking in terms of the stop and frisk. Now we had a problem with the stop and frisk, right? So they got rid of it, and I understand that because we feel that the majority of people that getting stopped and frisked is black people. Now look at it. Everybody carrying a gun. Everybody. You can't have a cookout. You can't go to school. You know, everybody getting shot. Babies getting shot. You know, it's like it's off the chain right now. What you asked for.
And in some cases, it's 12, 13 years doing the shooting.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Everybody walking around with a gun. Everybody. You can what's that thing they call ghost guns where you can make guns? You can order it, and I believe it's legal.
Wow.
I think they trying now to make it illegal where you can order parts, you know, I believe on YouTube or online and show you how to put it together.
Yeah, and people got the 3D printing machine. They 3D printing guns now. You hear about this?
Oh no, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that's crazy. They got 3D printed guns now, so that you can make it at home, basically.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right, they're making guns at home, so it's out of hand because we're being affected the most by this. You know, affected in our communities. You know, our children can't go out and play. You know, we can't have a cookout. We can't, you know, do anything. We got to worry about the gun violence. And that's one of the purposes of the Father Center was to go out and teach. See, our job was not to be like just the common people, you know, just out there. We have to, like, set the standards. Because if you're going to teach people not to do these things, you shouldn't be doing it, you know. You can't be caught up in everything that everyone else is doing. You must see a distinction. When you see a 5%er, you must see a distinction between him and which we call the 85%. Now we call it the 85% according to the lessons with Elijah Muhammad. They are we say the uncivilized people who do not know who the living God is or their origin in this world and things of that nature, right? So these are the ones who don't know, we would say don't know any better or whatever. So they were our intended target as well, you know, because we can't go on living like this.
You're right about that. Now, do you think if we can help to promote 5% culture again, you think that will help to reduce some of the violence in the street?
Yes. If we're living right, because you know, when I became a 5%er, right, we didn't used to say I got knowledge of self. We used to say I'm righteous now. We used to use the term righteous because that was the primary goal, to strive for righteousness, to try to live a righteous way of life. You know, we know it's hard to be righteous in an unrighteous world. We know that, but the objective is to strive for righteousness. You know, to treat people how you want to be treated. That's why equality is in our mathematics. You know, don't do something to someone that you don't want done to you. This is how we all should be living. You know, we need to be pushing that more.
You said years ago in the 80s, it was righteous, or you would say you had knowledge of self. Now in popular mainstream media, they're using the term woke, and woke is like a pejorative among some people. What is your opinion on that? Like, has woke replaced righteous, or is that just a distraction being put out by the media?
No, I see it as a distraction because if you look at it now, see, woke to us at one time was being conscious. was being aware. But now it's like it has become a joke now when they deal with wokeness. You know, they connect that with a lot of foolishness. You know, so yeah, that's something that's being pushed by the media today. You know.
Yeah, I think.
Thing.
I'm sorry. Say it again. I'm sorry.
Conscious and being aware has always been a good thing.
Absolutely, but years ago we didn't say woke. I feel like that's something that came out maybe late '90s or early 2000s as woke.
Probably later than that, you know. Yeah, no, we didn't use woke. We used being conscious, being aware.
Yeah, and just to say woke is bad grammar anyway.
Yeah. Right, yeah. But see, that's because they making fun of someone being conscious or being aware to the BS that's going on. And when you speak out about it, oh, that's that woke stuff.
So you think woke is being used to denigrate black consciousness?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, we refer to the Father as Allah, or we refer to him as the Father. Is it disrespectful? Like, go ahead.
No. Yeah, both. Because Father he is the Father of this nation. So that's why you may hear me say Father, but I try to call him by his name most time, Allah, because that was his name, you know, because he founding father of this social construct that we call the 5% nation. So when you see 5%ers call him Father, that's all they mean, you know. None religious with it, because we know in the Catholic Church they call them fathers and all that. No, we don't mean it in that way.
Now, is it considered disrespectful for people to call him Clarence or Clarence 13X? Because I was having a conversation years ago with someone who was in the 5% Nation of Gods and Earth, and I had said Clarence 13X, and he checked me. He didn't like that. He said it was disrespectful. You agree with that?
Yeah, because his name was Allah, right? When he started doing this work, he changed his name. You know, Clarence result back to a different time in his life. When he came to the 5%, he didn't come to us as Clarence. He came as Allah. So that's what we respect him as Allah, and that's what we call him by the name that he redefined himself as.
Would that be the same thing as calling Malcolm X Malcolm Little, or calling Muhammad Ali Cassius Clay?
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Understood. You had I don't know if you saw a video. It was a Buckshot of Boot Camp Click and Black Moon, and he was talking about the Nation of Gods and Earth, and he said, "Go ahead, say it again."
Crazy. That whole interview was crazy, but
okay, because I was now asking you.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going. I want to ask your opinion on that. He was referring to the Father as Clarence, which you said can be considered disrespectful. And he also said that the Father was teaching the children in the streets so that they can join the Nation of Islam mosque.
All that misinformation. You know, you see, I never even heard of Buckshot being a part of the 5% Nation. I've never seen him, you know. So I don't know where he got that information from, where he picked that stuff up from. But see, he has a big platform because of who he is. And you up there spewing that mess. You know, all he had to say was, I'm not qualified to answer those questions. But you speaking like you are, or you were a 5%er. Yo, I don't care if his father was a 5%er. They ain't got nothing to do with him, you know. But you got a lot of 5%ers that have children that don't have nothing to do with this, you know. I have older children that don't necessarily deal with this, you know. So they will have sense enough to know, I can't really speak on that, instead of just putting false information out there.
Now, has there been any backlash? Has Buckshot caught any flack for some of the comments that he made?
Well, online, yes, he caught a lot of, online, yes.
Okay.
Because I think he's disrespectful. And he said like 90% of the 5%ers have white women or something like that. Like, yo, it was crazy.
That's just slinging mud. It's like he's giving out disinformation.
Yeah, and he was calling what he said, ABGE. Like, who's that? Yeah.
That's funny.
That's funny.
Either
Yeah,
way,
Either way,
yeah, I want to get your take on that buckshot thing because look, I'm not in the 5% Nation of Gods and Earth myself, and I saw a lot of what he was saying is disinformation just based on what I know. So I said, okay, something in here is not necessarily right.
yes. And I'm surprised. And I believe from Brooklyn. And I know I'm pretty sure he didn't interact with a lot of 5%er, you know. I'm pretty sure he has. And where did you get that from?
We got Jamel Fareed and I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You go ahead.
I got Jamel Fareed in the chat said, I never heard Buckshot speak on that. I believe Jamel Fareed that the video is Buckshot and it's something, the title was something like History of the Nation of Gods and Earths, History of the 5% Nation. Do you remember the name of the video, Brother Cee?
No, I don't.
I would direct Brother Jamel to YouTube and just kind of try to put that in a search and you'll see it. I know the channel it was on was called I Never Knew TV. So I would direct Brother Jamel to that channel. And we also
I've seen that, you know.
Yeah, we also have Brother Hassan Burton. It says, I appreciate your time, Cee Allah.
so they big you.
Yeah, thank you, my brother.
Now, in addition to just being a member of the 5% Nation of Gods and Earths, because here this is the Fact Project, and we try to not just have these important conversations which educate the people, but we also try to get involved in some activism. And if you take the F off of fact, you have the word act. Act is to do something. The word activism, the root of the word activism is to, act in a way where you're basically trying to transform the condition of the group or make fundamental change in society. The father said that the goal of the members of the Nation of Gods and Earths should be to teach the children. Now, yourself and your complement, Sister Umi, have started a school to teach the children. What can you tell us about that school?
Giving our babies, yeah. It's a non-profit that my Earth and I, we put together. We started here in the home, too. The school started here in my home, Saving Our Babies, Inc., So we put that together. We started with a few children, like maybe one or two in the house, and then we begin to grow. Then we got another place, Kosciuszko Street in Bed-Stuy, teaching, she was dealing with the homeschool. Because my daughter, she's 10 years old, and we decided we weren't going to put her in the public school system. So that was our primary focus of my daughter, definitely. So this is what gave birth to Saving Our Babies, the organization. And now, we've been functioning for I would say 5 years, going.
And now, is that an outgrowth of what the father taught to teach the babies? Did you get this idea from being a member of the Nation of Gods and Earth?
Oh yeah, that's definitely plays a big part in it. Yes, definitely. And her being a 5% as well. We know that's our primary focus because we know the children. That's our link to the future. You can only see the future through the stars. And in the 5% Nation, we call the stars the babies. And that's our future right there.
Now, I've heard people that are involved with the Nation of Gods and Earths, especially on YouTube, they said that GOD stands for Good Orderly Direction. Is that correct?
Correct.
I mean, that's just an acronym. GOD, the word, I mean, that's how they break down, use the acronym of God to mean good orderly direction, I mean, that's fine if they want to use it that way. But the word God means supreme being. That's what it means.
Now, good orderly direction, is that coming out of 120 lessons or that's something somebody just came up with?
No, someone just came up with that. Yeah. And I don't have a problem. It's about good orderly direction, moving in that manner. Yes, I have a problem. But that's not what the word God means, But that's what we all should be trying to do. Move in a good orderly direction. Yeah, I have a problem.
Yeah, we have a
question.
Mm-hmm. It says there's a new book based on the 5% Nation lessons that was supposed to drop a couple of days ago, written by Michael Muhammad Knight. You know anything about that?
I know he has a book, but I don't know nothing about any lessons. I remember when he was doing study, when he was coming to parliaments and things. I think he was writing a paper. I think he was in school at that time. So he was coming around doing his research, doing his study amongst us. I used to see him all the time at our parliament.
Because I know he already has a book. I didn't know he was doing a second one. I'm not aware of that.
And on the lessons, wow.
Yeah, that's what's being said in the chat.
Okay, I gotta look into that.
Yeah.
Cause he ever since after him and Lord Jamar got into it, he stopped really coming amongst us. Cause he had put the our universal flag in the rainbow colors.
Oh wow.
Do you know anything about that?
I never heard this before. No.
Yeah. Brothers was mad at him for that. Because he was going back and forth with Lord Jamar.
And what happened there? What can you tell us about that?
I forgot. See, this was some years ago.
Okay. We got the title of the book is The Supreme Wisdom Lessons, a Scripture of American Islam. That's supposed to be the title of the new book.
Wow. Oh, yeah? Oh, this is deep. You know that?
Yeah, so we got to look into that because I never heard this myself. So we want to thank Ibadullah Mashiach. I'm sure I'm butchering the name. Forgive me. But yeah, they're in the chat kind of bringing us up to date on the latest that's supposed to be happening with this book. I didn't know this.
Wow, I didn't know any. I bet a lot of people don't know nothing about this.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so with the few minutes we got.
I'm pretty sure.
Say that again.
Pretty sure he's going to get a lot of pushback for that.
Okay, because now you're saying he fell out with Lord Jamar, so he's at bad standings with Lord Jamar, or is this like the nation of gods and earth totally?
With the nation, period. After that, like he don't come amongst us anymore. No.
And what was the fallout about?
It was something to do with something I think Lord Jamar had said about homosexuality or whatever, being hip hop and homosexuality. That's what it had. I don't really recall, but it was along them lines, and he kind of, I guess, was trying to defend homosexuality or whatever, and then he had put our flag, the universal flag, up in like some rainbow colors, trying to be funny,
Because that's my question, like, why would he do that?
Yeah, he did that. Yeah.
Wow, so he's just basically doing that to take a swipe at the nation.
Yeah, call himself taking a swipe at Lord Jamar at the time, but you taking a swipe at all of us when you do that.
That's true. We got Brother Jamel Fareed said, I haven't heard any of this great information. So you on here dropping jewels, brother.
Yeah, thank you. I'm trying to do what I can do.
Okay, now the school is saving the email for people that may want to send their children there. Or if you're in the New York area, especially if you're in Brooklyn, the email is savingourbabies.inc@gmail.com. The email again is savingourbabies.inc@gmail.com. Now, Brother C, you also have events at the school sometimes. What can you tell us about some of those events that you have at the school?
Oh yeah, yeah. We have one. Well, the children are about to graduate now, so we're about to have a ball for the children. We're going to have participate in other schools as well to add on. We're going to have a nice event going on, and that's coming up, I believe, next week. Because it's the end of the year. So she tried to do something like every year, around this time for the children. We had a big graduation ceremony. She just came back, my wife, with the children. She took her class to Philly. She took them for like 2 days. They stayed in the Airbnb. She took them to where the Declaration of Independence was signed. She showed them all that, them places in Philadelphia and things. The goal was to take them to D.C. and we did a fundraiser, but it didn't make enough money to go to D.C. So we always have something going on for the youth, down there. We try to stay active. We try to keep them active in the community. Like she take them and they do gardening and things. Always something. They help out because we're not into the holiday, but she would take them her class or the children to like around Thanksgiving time, and they give out the free food. They have the children participate in that. You got to keep them active. You got to
Now, some of the events that the school conducts, are these just for students, or are some of them open to the public also?
Well, yeah, some things are open because we have after school ceremony as well. We have after school, so yeah, you can come. You don't have to go to the school to participate in the after school program. Was lined up. Yeah, because it's Saving Our Baby Arts and Cultural Center. So when we try more things, we may have a discussion the other day. Maybe we can try to implement music in there as well. I was talking to my son because my son is into that. He has a studio and stuff, and trying to get keyboards down there to get children to learn how to play. So because I had my daughter in piano lessons at one time, and things like that. Bring back things like that where kids can be knowledgeable of how to play instruments and things. So we're still growing the school and the activity as well, and we accept all ideas or whatever, how we can expand this and make the program work for everybody.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I spoke to Brother Sangha yesterday. That's the drummer that you met when you came out here. He was asking me about you. Would you consider bringing him in to do like a music class?
Oh yeah. See, we have a drummer already. See, it's called every week the drummer come and he teach the kids math through drums.
Wow.
Yeah. But I told him before, we definitely would use him as well because we do a lot of things. My wife always something to do with the young. So no, yeah, I can. I think I have his number. I think I still have his number.
Yeah, he was asking for you up to yesterday, brother.
Oh, okay, yeah. No.
You're not. You also do summer camp, also, right? Talk to us about summer camp.
That should be starting, I believe, in July, sometime in July, and.
And what does that involve exactly?
Oh well, that involves in going on trips, taking them to museum, taking them to fun zones, things like that. They still do some work in terms of study. They may do like maybe an hour on that, before all the fun stuff start and stuff, taking them on trips. So yeah, we do all that in the summertime as well. There are a lot of trips.
Okay, now we almost there at that time. Are there any spaces available for people that might want to put their children in summer camp?
I can't tell you right now. I have to speak with my wife because she had the registration, and I don't know, how many she got registered at this moment. So I can't answer that at this moment.
Okay, so I'll say if anyone's interested, if you have children or if you know someone that has small children, email savingourbabies.inc@gmail.com to get more information. savingourbabies.inc@gmail.com. Brother C, Brother Jamel Fareed said, I truly appreciate this bill, Cee Allah. And he also said, that's definitely positive motion y'all have going on, Cee Allah. So they bigging you up in the chat, brother.
No, I didn't hear you, God.
No, I said, brother Jamel Fareed said, I truly appreciate this bill, Cee Allah. And then he said, that's definitely positive motion y'all have going on, Cee Allah. So he's bigging you up.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Yeah, we trying to do our part.
Most definitely. Now, Brother C, you want to give out a website or any other information about the school if people want more information?
Okay, right now, she's still working on the website because she changed it over. Just last night, she was still putting together a new website. So until that should be done probably within a couple of days. So I guess I'll probably send it to you when she finished with the website putting it up because she doing everything over.
Yeah, shout out to Sister Umi, definitely one of the hardest working people in all of Black consciousness.
yeah, she doing that thing.
Yeah. Brother Cee Allah, our hour is up, man. I definitely want to thank you for coming back on here with us and bringing some clarity to what the nation of God's and earth actually is. I think you've enlightened a lot of people today, and the reaction's been really good, man.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Anytime I'm here.
Oh, most definitely. Sam Sun is in the chat. He said, thank you both for the information. You met Sam Sun years ago at the African Poetry Theater.
Oh, okay.
So he's bigging you up too.
Peace, my brother.
Most definitely. All right, brother. Get off of here. I'm gonna definitely be in touch. And if you have any event information, anything going on with the school, get it over to me, and I'll make sure I mention it in my announcements when I start the show.
Oh, all right, thanks. And thanks again for having me, my brother.
Yeah, most definitely. We'll talk to you again soon, all right?
Okay, peace to you and your family.
All right, brother.